Welcome to Goddess on the Rise. I'm your host, Sarah Brookberg, board certified life coach, board certified holistic health coach, and Ayurveda practitioner. Goddess on the Rise is all about empowering women, self love, wellness, reclaiming the body you are in, and creating a life where you can come out on top. So buckle up, girlfriend. We are going for a ride. Okay, so go ahead and talk.
What do you want me to say? What kind of shit do you want me to talk about? Is it recording?
Yeah, let's see.
Check. 1, 2, 1, 2.
Okay, so I think we are ready to go. So we have a special guest on the show today on Goddess on the Rise, and it is my mom. Say hi, Mom.
Hi, everybody.
Okay, so mom has cancer. Dun, 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 dun. I love how that was not even planned and we both said that. That's hilarious.
Yep.
That was pretty good. Yeah, so you freaking have cancer, dude. What the heck?
Yeah, it's a thing.
Why did you do that? Why did you go off and get cancer? I mean, like, come on now.
I don't know. Somehow or another, one cell talked to the other cell and said, hey, you know what? This bitch is fixing to retire. We ought to do something different. Let's throw the big C.
Yeah, that is definitely
Pretty much how that worked.
Definitely was not on the bingo card for what, 2023?
Yeah, it definitely was not on there.
You're gonna have to speak up a little bit more, I think.
All right.
Okay. But so let's talk about like when you first got cancer. Like,
all right.
Do you want to like share a little bit about what led you to like the diagnosis?
Well, basically, I have already had a partial hysterectomy back when Katie was born. So I had simply just tubes and ovaries, and I had an issue with that surgery to where they had to hurry up and cut me wide open because, well, wasn't doing too good on the table, full of endometriosis. So they had to get all the endometriosis out and get everything else out and save my life all at the same time, stitch me back up. So due to that, my bladder is not tacked and my fallopian tubes and ovaries were not tacked. So flashed forward, and my tubes tend to float around and every now and then would twist up with each other. And when that happened, the ovaries would slap up against each other and create some hellacious pain. So flash forward to last year, I was starting to have a lot of pain, and I thought, you would think these damn things would be dead by now, being in my 50s, but went in, got it checked, and the lady started pushing around and doing exams and whatnot and said, yeah, things are starting to, the lining is, starting to get small, but where the pain is, I am going to send you for a colonoscopy just to make sure, which is probably a good thing that she did that.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what prompted the whole surprise. You have a massive tumor right there in the sigmoid colon. And, well, it was about a week after that. We have what you call my chart. And that's how I found out I had cancer. From my chart.
Yeah.
Which is awesome to be told that by my chart computer app.
Yeah. Basically, there was a new law passed, not only in the state of Iowa, but in other states as well, that requires physicians, hospitals to upload test results immediately to MyChart, which is a great thing, but also a really bad thing, especially in this case, because I had the lovely, I mean, not that you didn't already have the suspicion too, but I had the lovely um, privilege to tell you, hey, mom, you have cancer by reading her test results.
Yeah, it was awesome.
It was
But you know, hey,
nothing.
I pretty much knew that what carcinoma meant. I mean, I knew what it meant. So I think from that point forward, it was just kind of, I didn't freak out like I thought I would. It was kind of strange. You know, you see TV, movies, Hollywood, blah, blah, blah. You know, everybody gets told they have the big C, and it's like, oh my God, your heart drops to your stomach. You ball up into, you know, everything goes blank. You don't hear what they say. You start bawling, blah, blah, blah. I really didn't get that. I really,
Yeah.
I didn't have that reaction at all. I think the only reaction I really had was, are you freaking kidding me? Okay, what do we got to do to get this shit gone?
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, you kind
it's
of
not
went.
exactly something you want to hear, but at the same time, it's like, okay, what can we do to get rid of this shit?
Yeah.
We got to do something. It's got to go. This is the wrong time for this.
The wrong time.
So, yeah.
I don't think there's ever a right time, Mom.
Well, you know, younger years probably would have been better, but you know, when you're sitting there looking at, you know, soon to be retirement, it's not exactly something that you want on your list of things to do. You know, I don't really think people put that on their bucket list.
Yeah, period. What's interesting is like, well, I don't know if interesting is the right word. But what I find like what you kind of did, like you went immediately into like, okay, I want this gone. Like I want to go. You were ready to hit the ground running, and it was, I think, very tough for you at first because like, you know, like the University of Iowa was very slow on things. So you were like, no, forget that. Like I'm going somewhere else where they can get me in immediately because I want this to be done.
Yep, pretty much.
Yeah. So from there, you went to City of Hope in Chicago, right? And you did 4 rounds of chemo. And you were freaking amazing on chemo. I know you did not like it, but I mean, obviously, like who likes chemo? But you like powered through like no other.
Yeah, I mean, I look at, I guess, I don't know. There's no easy way to say. I mean, I did a lot here. I mean, I did a lot of, you know, going on Google, which I will tell everybody and anybody, do not do that. I mean, yeah, it has some information for you, but don't really read into a lot of what it says because it's fucking wrong. I mean, if I would have listened to everything that Google would have said, oh my God, I would have been dead the fucking 3 weeks later. I mean, it is ridiculous. The massive amounts of, you know, we tend to think that the internet is so great, grand, and glorious, but yet, you know, if we read into everything that it says, you know, people would never come out of their houses. They'd be afraid to live. So I then switched over and went on to TikTok and, you know, kind of looked to see, you know, okay, who else has got this shit? You know, somebody there, I'm not the only person in the world that's got this shit. So I started, you know, Googling it or TikToking it and finding other people. And, you know, I found a few, but at the same time, I will tell everybody that is where your symptoms come into play.
Right.
Everybody is different. And I think almost every single one that I found on there, nobody was like me.
Yeah.
You know, everybody was either, you know, losing their hair or you know, sicker than a dog or, you know, and so it was like, I think I got to like, I don't know, it was maybe the second round or third round of chemo. And it was kind of like, okay, after watching all these other people's TikToks and then seeing how mine's going, I kind of started to second guess everything. You know, it's like, okay, is this shit actually working? You know, is this chemo really doing anything? Because, you know, everybody else is getting sick and losing their hair. And here I am, I'm over here with, you know, 2 days after chemo and I'm happy-go-lucky walking around like eating all the food I normally eat and not batting an eye. I think I puked once and that was the first time. And Granted, my hair does fall out a little bit more than what it used to, but I still have a full head of hair.
Yeah.
And so I kind of started second guessing everything. Like, okay, so is shit actually working?
Right.
Are you sure you're putting it in the right spot? you know?
And I think that's where like your cancer markers, your blood work came in. That really felt like, I think it gave you a lot more hope because it kept consistently going down. And so I think that like is part of like what kind of kept you going. Don't you agree?
Well, yeah, because at first I didn't really know what the CAE, I didn't really know what it was.
Right.
I mean, I had, a lot of the blood work, and I knew what a lot of the blood work meant, and I was looking at it and I was making sure that I was in the green, trying to see, is there anything I need to change? But I never really paid much attention to that particular blood test until I think it was the second week. I think you asked me, what does this one say? What does that one say? And that's when I started paying attention to what it actually was and looking up what that particular test meant.
Right. Right.
And then that's when I was like, oh, well, shit. Evidently something is working.
Yeah. And I think that kind of like helped you like push forward and realize like, oh, wow, like maybe there is a freaking light at the end of this.
Yeah.
Because I think what's worse for you is like the stir craziness of it and like the sitting around.
Yep.
You fucking drove me crazy with it.
Yep.
You can't
Trust me, I'm driving myself crazy. I am not the person to sit down, read a book, and just lay around, or, I am the type of person that wake up, feet on the ground, running. I am active. I like, granted, yeah, I work in a factory, and granted, yeah, I am, somewhat in charge of people, but I'm out there on the floor. I'm out there. I don't expect them to do anything that I don't do. So it's like, in a sense, I like my job. Some things I don't, but some things I do. But it's because it's active. I'm always active. I'm always doing something.
Yeah.
And so just sitting around and doing the whole, oh, you need to relax. You need to take it easy. Yeah, you know what? Screw that. The cancer's going to be there regardless of whether I'm taking it easy or whether I'm up walking around and trying to do something. It's not going anywhere. It's there. So I think getting up and actually walking around and actually going outside and doing stuff when your dad's sleeping so that nobody knows what I'm doing, so I don't get yelled at, stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah. We're not gonna get too much into that because we don't need to fight on my podcast episode, which we would do. But I will say, like, I laugh all you want. I will preface that and remind people that, like, as a board certified holistic health coach and an Ayurveda practitioner and a nurse, I don't recommend doing that. So I just want to make that very clear. She's doing what she wants because she is stubborn as hell, not because her daughter condones it. So, but she is very much so, like, she does not have hobbies. Like, we have tried to get her into some hobbies. She won't freaking do it. She's stubborn as all get out, which
I am not a colorer. I am not a painter. I am not a book reader. I am not an arts and craft. Sorry, that's just shit. My active hobbies are go shoot guns, ride a bike, go swim in the pool, go to the beach. All my hobbies are things that are outdoors and let's go.
Outdoors, but it's like freaking wintertime, so it's not like she can even do these things. So
yeah, it sucks. Trust me.
Yeah. And, like, I mean, I'm the same way. Like, when it is summertime, I'm not indoors much. I love to be outside. I love to ride bikes. I'm, like, very much the same way. But in the wintertime, there's plenty of things that I can find to do to enjoy. So, her, not so much.
Nope. I can only watch so many series, and trust me, I have watched a lot of them. From start to finish.
Yeah, you're definitely not one to watch a lot of TV either, so I'm not surprised with any of that. But so with that being said, you finished your chemo, you did 4 rounds, You did end up having like some symptoms, but what do you feel like shocked you most about one, having cancer, and two, having the chemo?
Let's see. I think having the chemo was just the shock that, I prepared myself for the worst possible thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I prepared myself for being, totally sick, not wanting to make it through it. I prepared myself for that. I prepared myself for, losing all my hair, which definitely was not number one on my list. I had already had wigs picked out. I just hadn't, paid for them yet. I mean, I had prepared myself for the very, very worst.
Yeah.
And I told myself, okay, even on the worst days, I still got to get through this.
Yeah.
And a lot of it was, I mean, let's not make my daughter cry too much, but a lot of it was the fact that I had no intentions on leaving my children.
Yeah.
I had no intentions on leaving my husband. I had no intentions of leaving my grandbaby.
Yeah.
It's my life. That is all my life consists of. And
Yeah.
I had no intentions on not fighting hard enough to let that shit get me. I've fought through tons of stuff in my life, and I sure the hell wasn't gonna let the chemo get it.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, I definitely a little emotional, which I mean, duh, I always am. But I just have to say, like, side note, I'm so glad, like, for anybody whose parent has cancer, they're going through this journey, record these conversations. And like, let me just say, like, I don't think my mom is not going to get through. She's definitely going to get through this. I have no doubt. But it's just the thought of like the fact that we're doing this. Like, I'm always going to have this. I never have to worry about not hearing her voice. I mean, I have tons of voicemails saved of her, but just the thought of like, this is a memory
This is the one reason why I wanted this done, Sarah.
Well, yeah, and it's
I
like the
wanted
one
something
thing
for you girls to be able to go back and say, that's my mom.
Yeah, we can listen to that. We can let Ben hear that. He'll never not know his Gigi or the way she sounds. So like that's just a little cool thing. If you a little side note, if you have a parent going through this, I could definitely recommend doing that. So now that she is a bitch and made me cry,
You're welcome.
no, I literally have already cried so many times today. It's so annoying. I am so emotional today.
Honey, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but you're emotional no matter what. You are my baby that wears her heart on her sleeve.
Yeah, yeah.
And you have always been the emotional one.
Yeah. So back to you. What shocked you most about having cancer? Not just the chemo, the cancer.
I think the one thing that shocked me the most was that I didn't have any symptoms. I mean, what they say your symptoms are for colon cancer, I didn't have any symptoms. So if I wouldn't have had that pain thinking that it was, a female pain, I would have never gotten it checked. And when I did get it checked, when they did the colonoscopy, my colon was damn near all the way shut off because of this tumor.
Mm-hmm.
And I never knew. I never had. I mean, yeah, my bowels were a little smaller, but I didn't think much of them because I was still pooping and there was no blood, which I wasn't having any blood. And I just, all of the symptoms that they normally say you have, I did not have.
Yeah.
So with that being noted, I will personally tell each and every one of you listening to this that it is a smart idea to go and get a colonoscopy. Yeah, everybody says, oh no, they're horrible, blah, blah, blah. Actually, no, they're not. I had no pain. It didn't hurt. They knock you out for it. You don't realize what's going on. About the only part that's terrible, and that's you got to drink this shit every half an hour to 45 minutes, and you got to be on a clear liquid diet, and the stuff that you drink tastes like soapy water. And I wish I could tell you, if you mix it with this, it tastes better. If you mix it with that, if you do this, or it's a fruity flavor. Yeah, there is nothing that is going to make that shit taste better. It sucks, but it helps clean out so that they get a better picture. And waiting until you're in your late 40s, early 50s is not a good idea.
I
And the
agree.
reason being is this, cancer's hard enough, chemo's hard enough, but to do it in your older years rather than your younger years when your body jumps back more, yeah, it's just better to go and get it checked once a year.
Yeah. So actually, this is like a perfect gateway into a little bit of a reminder. I've had a lot of like my nurse friends talk about how they've had another nurse that are young, like my age, that have colon cancer. They end up dying because they have no symptoms.
Yeah.
Same thing with like colon cancer. So my mom has colon cancer, in case no one knows. Colon cancer is actually on the rise. Rates have jumped up to 40%. That's scary, especially with no
Well, the bad thing
symptoms.
about the colon cancer is it's not necessarily just the colon cancer that kills you, because
Yeah.
the colon cancer, it is actually treatable.
Yeah.
It is actually, I mean, you can, but what makes the colon cancer something that will kill you is the fact that it goes eventually
So long.
mets to other places, like mets to the liver, mets to the stomach, the pancreas. I mean, that's why a lot of these people die, is because number one, they don't catch the colon cancer
There's no
until it's already
symptoms. Yeah.
metastasized to something else.
Yeah. So just like with you, like, Lord knows, don't you wonder like how long you've had it for?
Yeah, I do.
I wonder that too. I think there's a lot of things
Because
that I think
they
back.
say it's a very slow growing, so it's like, okay, so if it's slow growing, how slow is slow, and when did it actually start?
Yeah, because
So
you have
yeah, I mean,
stage
I do.
4 and
Yeah,
it's metastasized to the
I
liver
do
and lymph
wonder.
nodes.
Yeah, I do wonder how long,
Yeah.
I've had it for, and it's metastasized to some of the lymph nodes. It has metastasized to the liver, so they are going to do an ablation on my liver, and if they are going to cut out some of the nodes that are right there by the colon, and they may have to cut off some of the vaginal cuff, I guess, because I read this, and of course the surgeon said, I don't really see it, but they say that they see an implant on the vaginal cuff and by the bladder. And I'm like, at first I was like, an implant? Okay, why can't you people speak freaking English? What the hell is an implant? What, you mean it's like planted something like a seed there or something? What the hell? I mean, the normal people do not talk like that. Doctors and surgeons need to realize that people need to know what the hell you're talking about. And if anybody, I have made all of my stuff that I have talked about, as far as my cancer, as far as my Facebook, I have made it all to where it's public, because I have tried to down it to where, normal people can understand. Because, you throw all these words out, and, normal people are looking at you like, wait, what?
She's in her cancer influencer era. She goes on Facebook after each like appointment or chemo, and she's wearing her chemo bag, and she's like, "So today's update, you guys," and it's like literally I die every time because I'm like, okay, like, what are you, like, what is this?
Well,
Like,
people, my friends and stuff at work, and people like that, they want to know.
oh, I
And
know they
so
want to know.
I don't want to get 15 million messages, so because I'm not good with that to begin with. So I
Yeah.
go ahead and I post updates on there. But I mean, people are not going to understand, what the hell what do you mean metastasize? What do you mean, laparoptomy? If I were to start saying the words, they'd be like, huh?
Yeah.
So I gotta make it, interesting, and nobody wants to hear, me bawling my eyes out trying to explain. So I mean,
Well, that's not like you
I'm not like
anyways.
that. I try
Yeah.
and make it, which is basically how I go into it. I'm just.
Yeah, you do. There's been so many times I'm usually on the phone for all of her appointments. I schedule my schedule around her appointments so I can be there. Not there in person. And I would like to set the record straight because I wonder if people think this. Like, I would like to set the record straight. My mom has asked me not to be there. She wants me to stay where I'm at. She will not. She does not want me home. And
Nope, sit out.
honestly, she didn't need me.
No, I don't.
So,
I told you I would call you and tell you when I need you here.
which is
But for right
so
now, you're
annoying.
doing more there. And yes, I know this annoys the hell out of both you girls, but there's no sense. What are you going to do? You're gonna sit around and do what? And do what? Nothing. There's no sense in it. And I need you. Trust me. I will call you and say, get your ass down here. I need
Yeah.
help.
And then the other thing I wanted to say was like when she goes to these appointments, oh my God, I literally want to die on the phone. I think one time I was so annoyed after an appointment. I was like, Mom, don't ever do that again. Like, fucking stop. Listen to the doctor. Stop. Because she would be like interrupting them and be like, so you mean the doohickey doesn't do this thingy and the thingy majoggy's not working? And I'm like, oh my God, shut up, mother.
You know what, though? You couldn't see his face, and he was laughing.
Oh,
He
I'm
thought
sure.
it was funny.
I'm sure. Yeah. Oh my
My
gosh.
oncologist is actually a pretty great guy.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got a good sense of humor. He's not all, stick up his ass type of guy. He's dealt with it all, and he's really happy-go-lucky, and has no problem telling the truth.
Yeah.
And my surgeon, he is to a point, but I think most surgeons are pretty straight-laced. So.
Yeah, I agree. And that brings me back to what we were saying before. I just want to remind anyone that is like my age, if you're like, man, what do I do? Because like I'm 30. I've already had several colonoscopies because I've had a lot of gut issues myself. But if you are someone who's like, okay, I really want to screen for colon cancer because y'all made me nervous, I want to tell you, if you just go to your doctor and say, hey, I want a colonoscopy to check for colon cancer, they will deny you. And the thing that's important about this, about getting a colonoscopy, is the polyps that they find in your colon. Those almost always lead to cancer, and they need to be removed. And that can be done in a colonoscopy. Again, it does not hurt. You're out for the whole thing. You're under something called conscious sedation. So you're actually like awake, but you're not going to remember anything. You don't actually know you're awake, and you don't feel anything. I can promise you that. I just had a hysteroscopy and a DNC under conscious sedation, and I didn't feel anything. The second thing is, if you go to your doctor and you say that, they're going to deny you probably 9 times out of 10. So you're going to want to go to your doctor and say something like, hey, I am dealing with, and I never think it's good to lie to your doctor, but in this case, if they tell you no, this is what you're going to want to say. Hey, I'm having rectal bleeding. I don't think it's from hemorrhoids. Or can we check to see if it's hemorrhoids? I've already tried this medication. I've already tried hemorrhoid medication. I'm also experiencing a lot of bloating and pain, abdominal pain. I've tried supplements. I've tried changing my food. I've tried laxatives. Nothing's working. And then that is when they'll give you a colonoscopy. Again,
Yep.
I don't condone lying to your doctor, but in this case, I do.
Yeah, there are certain cases where, you got to get them on board. I mean, if you have a good doctor, they'll be on board.
Yeah.
And they'll know that you feel uneasy and they'll do it. But if you don't, then yeah, you have to do the latter.
Yeah, you got to do what you got to do.
Your
So
health comes first.
getting back to, whoops, my microphone just fell over. So getting back to a little bit more about your cancer, Mom, what do you feel like has been the worst part of having cancer?
Let's see. I think the worst part of having cancer is the unknown. I hear a lot of people talk about it on TikTok, and I thought, that doesn't bother me. This doesn't bother me. But in a way, it does. I mean, there are times when, let's see, case in point, right in the middle of my rib cage, which we all know that's where your liver is, down a little lower. I was feeling a little bit of pain, and it, not like major pain, but, and then I was kind of pushing on it. I was like, wait, is that a lump? Oh my God, wait, is that a lump? What the fuck? And of course, you automatically, whereas a normal person wouldn't really panic. They just say, oh, maybe I ate something wrong. A cancer person panics because they automatically think, shit, is that a lump? Is that cancer? Everything. I think the worst part is everything that you feel medically or whatever, any little bump that you feel, your mind automatically goes to, okay, wait, is that cancer?
Yeah.
And, I heard somebody on a TikTok say that once, and I thought, yeah, whatever. But no, they are right. That is true.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you freak out a little. I mean, but when you don't catch it until it's, so far, and then you're like, oh shit, what? And now you're going to find it somewhere else. I mean, that is a real thought.
Right. What has been the best part of having cancer?
To be quite honest, I don't really feel there's been a best part.
Really?
Well, I mean, I guess a lot of times when people get sick, people don't want to be around people that are sick. They look at it as, oh my, yeah, that person's got such and such, yeah, hi, how are you, and then they walk away. I guess knowing and finding out that there are several people standing there. There are several people that if I just pick up the phone and say, hey, or if I just put a thing on Facebook and say, hey, we need help, I all of a sudden have got, anywhere between 9 to 10 people standing there going, okay, what do you need?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say.
That was kind of shocking. I mean,
Yeah.
I didn't really expect that.
Yeah, I think that's a very good point. So, um, when this all happened, me and Katie made an Amazon wish list for my mom just to like kind of help her and feel like loved. We put some gift cards on there. And even before that happened, though, like people are already giving her money and gift cards, like and random things. And then my girlfriend had made her a GoFundMe. And my gosh, like people contributed a lot to that. And then her friends hosted her a benefit where they raised a shit ton of money to help my mom with like the cost. Cause she's, of course, missing work, but also my dad's missing work, taking her to and from appointments. So it's been a lot. Um, and I think like just as much as like my mom was shocked, I'm not shocked, but I think it was so good for like you, mom, to like just see a community of people that you did not realize you had impacted so much kind of come out of the woodwork.
Yeah, it was
Humbling.
yeah, I mean, I guess, when you always sit and you think, and you look back and you think, okay, was my life, did I actually do anything that was worth anything? Yeah, okay, I went to work every day. Yeah, I raised my kids. I have a husband, but did I actually leave a mark? I think is the best way to put it. Did I actually leave a mark?
Yeah.
And finding out that you left more of a mark than what you thought it brought me and Kip both to tears.
Yeah.
It was, we're not big on emotions, but behind closed doors, it brought us both to tears.
Yeah. I think it was really awesome to see like just so many people that have come out and support you and like, told you and gave you things and sent you things. It was very like beautiful. I think for me it was beautiful to witness. It was really exciting, and I mean
Yeah,
it's
we still have that going on now. I mean,
yeah.
still people, here and there, I still have people that, people come home and say, hey, such and such, this is from such and such, and I try and send out as many thank you cards as I can to people that, you know, but just so you know that if you're a person that, I didn't get to with a thank you card, know that it's not because I didn't get to it. It's just, I might not have noticed it. I noticed the name, but just didn't get a chance to send one yet.
Yeah. Um and you're not like, that's not really like you too. like
Yeah, it's not. That's my
it
husband. I can tell you right now, that is my husband because I'm
you're
not.
not very good at that part,
No, I'm not. That's my husband. I will be the first one to tell you that is my husband.
Like, yeah, when it comes to that stuff, that's not quite your forte.
No, I'm not.
Like, it means a
I
lot to you, but it's
Yeah,
hard.
it means a lot to me, but at the same time, I'm not.
You're not one to articulate that very well.
I'm not an emotional person.
Yeah.
I'll be the first one to say I'm not an emotional person. That emotional person died years ago. I used to be. I used to be like my oldest daughter. I cry at the drop of. I mean, I was a very emotional person. I was, and things in my life have definitely killed that person a long time ago.
Yeah.
And now I'm strong. I'm tough. I don't falter. It's everything straightforward. And in my life, that has been the way everything is handled. It's been a blessing to have it that way in some points, and in some points, it's not. But this is
Yeah.
just me.
Yeah. I agree. So what's next for you? You want to tell everybody?
Well, next is this week is my journey back to the City of Hope. I have several appointments on the 8th, along with a colonoscopy again. I will be on a liquid diet starting the 7th. I have wound care appointments and rehab appointments and appointments with the surgeon and appointments with this person and that person.
Mm-hmm.
I have a colonoscopy where they're going to go in and check things out, and basically I'll get my first tattoo. You girls ought to be proud of that. I get my first tattoo because they'll tattoo the spot that they want to cut out. I mean, granted, I only have the tattoo until the next day, but hey, I got a tattoo. I have a tattoo on the inside of my colon that radiates or glows in the dark or whatever to the outside or something like that. I don't know how exactly that works. But then on the 9th, I go in for a 5.5 hour surgery where they are going to do a colon resection. They are going to do an ablation on my liver. They are going to cut out the lymph nodes that are cancerous or swollen or whatever. And hopefully I wake up and everything is normal. Or I could wake up with a colostomy bag for a couple of months.
Mm-hmm.
Or I could wake up and not have a gallbladder and not have pieces of my liver. There are several things that could go wrong, and there are several things that could go right. So it's kind of one of those surgeries that you throw a coin up in the air and you hope for the best.
Right.
They're going to do everything laparoscopically, but if he gets in there and he finds out that he's got to cut me from asshole to hell nations, then
Jesus.
he'll have to do it that way.
Oh my God, Mom.
Well, I'm not exactly feeling the whole 9-inch fucking incision in the middle of my abdomen is just not really where I want to be. But, hey, they might be to where he's got to do that. You
Yeah.
just, right now, the surgery is kind of one of those. I guess that's one of the parts that you don't really like about cancer, because
Right.
you throw a coin up in the air and it's, you hope that he gets everything and that everything he can get with the little tweezers and the scissors and the suction and all that kind of stuff. But
Mm-hmm.
if he gets in there and it's worse, or if there's something they didn't see, or if there's something he can't get, then he's got to pull this stuff out and put a big 9-inch incision in the middle of my abdomen and pull me wide open, and then he gets to pull all my stuff out and play with it and get it all out that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, one way is the easy way and one way is the hard way. And, well, we all know that Lord knows I never do anything the easy way. So, right
Well,
about now, my odds are 50-50.
let's not put that out there, because so far, I mean, you've done amazing with chemo, so who knows? Maybe this will be good too.
That's what we're hoping for. We're hoping that,
So,
everything is small and everything. I mean, granted, everything is shrunk.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the tumor in the sigmoid colon is shrunk. The lymph
Yeah.
nodes have shrunk. The ones in the liver have shrunk. He's going to do an ablation on the ones in the liver. And of course, another thing too is if he, does the ablation and it's, goes straight through and burns that, but also nicks my gallbladder, I'm going to wake up without a gallbladder. That's another thing on the list.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, we're going to do plug and play and we're going to burn this. And well, she don't really need that. And
I
so, I
mean,
mean, yeah,
yeah.
it's kind of like, we'll just take this out. Oh, we'll suction that piece out. We need to do a little bit more snipping here. Oh, wait, what is that? That's new. Well, we'll just cut that out. So, I mean, he's going to get in there and play puzzle pieces. It's like a game of operation. Shit, got to cut that piece too. So, I mean, yeah, I'm not, I can't say that I don't have any anxiety. I
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
I have anxiety that, I'm going to come out of this and I'm going to be on a colostomy bag for God knows how long, or maybe permanently, or they're going to find something else in there and they're going to have to close me up and then tell me, we couldn't get everything, or, I'm not going to wake up at all. I mean, it's the normal thing that people go through when they have a major surgery. I mean, this
Right.
isn't like some light sedation. I mean, they're actually
Yeah.
going to knock you out. And sometimes people end up in coma afterwards and they don't wake up for a while. I mean, there's tons of shit that people go through and they think about. And it's like, do I have everything? Do I have everything down?
Right.
Do I have everything that he needs in case something happens to me? Do my kids know everything? There's a lot of things that you go through that, you sit there and you check boxes off, even though you shouldn't check them off. But
I
it's
mean,
just, I think, human nature.
yeah. And I think it's probably like a good thing to like be prepared, but then also come out and like not need it, you know?
Yep.
And that's what's going to happen, because I'm a fortune teller and I can tell the future.
Hey, so far we've been doing good.
Yeah.
But I mean, if, it's just like I said, it's human nature. What person wouldn't look at that and say, I mean, I'm a tough person. Don't
Yeah.
get me wrong. I'm strong. And so far, nothing's really bothered me per se. I mean, yeah, I've been headstrong, like whatever we got to do to get this shit out, get it fixed, and I'm still that way.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I look at that and I think, okay, 5.5 hours, there's a fucking shitload of crap that can go wrong in five. Does he really need 5.5 hours? I mean, you think about that.
Yeah.
It's on your radar, it doesn't matter how strong a person you are. It is on your radar. Wait a minute. Should a person actually be out for 5.5 hours? What the hell? It's not like I'm a gunshot victim,
Right.
You think about shit like that.
Yeah. That's, I mean, very legitimate. After your surgery, you have possibly 4 to 5 days in the hospital, maybe longer,
Yes.
maybe shorter, depending on
Yes.
basically how you do. If
And
you,
hopefully we will know more too. One of the last appointments on the 8th is a teaching appointment with the surgeon. So, I mean, I have a lot of questions, it's like, do I have to stay in here this long? Can I, go home and rest there?
no, you have to stay until you pass gas. Don't give me that look. Do
Well, yeah,
not
you
give me
have
that
to
look.
pass gas and you have to poop. Yes, I know. And,
It just
you
depends
got to
on how
walk the
long you do
next
that.
day. They
And
want you up and walking the next day,
yeah,
if not that day.
yep.
So, I
But
mean, I know all that.
the only thing with you is that you'll push yourself, and you have to make sure you don't push yourself too hard, because that can make things worse, make your healing worse.
Well, not only that, but I'm not pushing anything. The last thing I need is for whatever plug and play he did to come attached in there because, and this is where, yeah, you guys know, yeah, I want to push, I want to get home, I wanted this, I wanted that, and yeah, I do, but at the same time, there is nothing here. Yeah, I want to be in my house, I want to be here, but medically, okay, there's no hospital here in Keokuk.
Yeah.
Fort Madison Hospital, I wouldn't trust. And so there's Burlington, and we all know Iowa City's already tried to kill me. So, I don't really want anybody else to have to touch me or do anything to me except for the City of Hope, which is 5 hours away, which I'm pretty sure your father could probably make it in 3 hours if need be.
Yeah, but still, yeah.
So, I mean, those are things that I think about.
Okay, good. I'm glad, because yeah, don't make me have to come there. I mean, obviously I'll come there if you need me, but don't be a little shit.
Sounds to me like you're going to be a little busy there, little girl.
Oh, I can make time for you.
Mm.
I can make time. I can switch plans around very easily. So,
You just stay the course. We'll be fine.
so after surgery, then we're looking at what, like 4 weeks of healing, possibly 4 to 6 weeks before you start more chemo?
Actually, I think it's, if I'm not mistaken, I think they only do 2 weeks and then you have an appointment. And then I'm kind of hoping that if I have to have another 4 rounds of chemo, I'm kind of hoping to have them. I'm kind of hoping that maybe like the first weekend in March or, right around in there, second weekend in March or something. I'm kind of hoping to, have things somewhat set up. But,
Yeah. I mean, if your surgery goes great and everything's perfect and no colostomy and no big
yeah, it's
incision,
all like I said, it's all up in the air. It just depends.
if
You're not going to know anything until we come out of surgery.
yeah, so but if it's all like that, then yeah, I think that'd be great. And what a great idea to do it like that. If it's not like that, then I don't want you to have chemo for a little bit.
No, probably won't. It just
Good.
depends. Like I said, a lot of it depends on the surgery.
Yeah.
Depends on when they get in there. Depends on what they find.
Yep.
Depends on what they take out. Depends on what they think, how bad they think. I mean, a lot of it, and then it may only be 2 rounds of chemo. It may be 4 rounds of chemo. It just, at this point, everything is up in the air and really will not know anything more about my treatment or how things are going to go until I get out of surgery.
Right.
Surgery is kind of like the pivot point of, okay, where we go from here and what happens next. Surgery, it's all hindering on the surgery.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
that's a fun thing to not have to think about. Kind of like, okay.
Yeah. Well, we'll know more super soon, so
Well, hopefully you guys will know something Friday afternoon because I believe the surgery is first thing in the morning. So
yeah, more than likely. So
but it's a 5-hour surgery, so I imagine Friday is going to be the roughest day on everybody. So
mhm.
including me, even though I'll be knocked out.
Yeah, you get the easy
Y'all
thing.
could be y'all could be sitting there stressing and think about that. My happy ass would be sleeping like a big dog.
You know what's not fair is that even Katie gets to go to work.
Well,
And I just get to sit here at home with the dogs, bothering dad all day. He's gonna hate me.
oh, I'm sure he's pretty stressed out.
Well, no shit.
I mean, he is he's really, he may not say too much, but he's really stressed out.
I am sure he is. No doubt in my mind. So,
We've had
okay,
our moments.
I bet. So any last words, last thoughts, or anything that you want to share before we wrap this up? This has been a good conversation. We're almost at an hour anyways, so we're kind of like at the point where
Well, I guess the number one thing is that, if you even remotely think that you've got something wrong with you, go get checked. Make them check you.
yeah.
And for two, cancer is only as bad as you make it.
I can
If
see
you're
that.
willing to fight, it's not going to be as bad, regardless of how much pain you're in. Just, you got to fight. If you don't, you might as well just roll over and play dead.
Yeah.
Because if you don't fight, nobody's going to fight for you. This is something
Yeah.
you have to do yourself.
Yep.
And then I guess 3 is just that you girls know just how much you really mean.
Well, duh.
That you girls were my life. You girls are what I talk about all the time. You girls will always be my life. You will always be the best thing I ever did in my life.
Yeah. You're not
You know,
dying,
when
so stop saying all this right now. I
no, I
cannot
have no
handle it.
intentions, but you guys, it's something that you need to know. You need to, parenting doesn't come with a how-to book.
Yeah.
So yeah, have I made mistakes? Yeah, I've made mistakes. What
Yeah.
parent doesn't? Some parents make them more than others.
Yep.
But at the end of the day, you girls are beautiful. You girls' lives are unreal. You guys have basically become more than what I ever could have been. And I love you guys more than what you'll ever know. You were the best thing that I ever did in my life, was you girls.
Yeah. Well, we love you. So, on that note, holy fuck. Anyways, so thanks for being a guest today, Mom.
You're welcome.
You did good. Pretty proud of you. This was a really good episode, I feel like.
I told you, you guys always do this shit without me, but
Do this shit without you.
Because I am just one badass. I might be a mom,
God.
but I am
Okay,
a badass.
we better stop here before she ruins it all.
Man.
All right. If you are listening at home, thank you so much. Hopefully, you got some really good pieces out of this episode. It was an absolute honor interviewing my mom. Like, how freaking fun. She's not been on the show yet, so this was kind of cool to bring her on and let her share her story. And then also, like, all the little nuggets of wisdom that came out of this. And this is just your reminder to get checked for colon cancer. It is on the rise. Also, if you have any questions about that, feel free to message me on Instagram or Facebook. Send my mom all the love, the light, the healing, the prayers. She hopefully is at the end of her cancer journey. That would be so freaking amazing and exciting. And that is exactly what we want. And then, yeah, if you or one of your loved ones is going through this as well, just know that we love you and we're sending you all the healing as well. Okay, I love you. Thank you for being here. You are thebomb.com.